Okay, was that interesting? Let's have the mic ready in the back.
So I had a great conversation with Chris.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate, but great guy. It was interesting because the exercise we did before with the emotional charge obviously primed me for not staying around too much into small talk, and so we got into a conversation right away.
Right, so what happened is you accidentally slipped into the inner circle, right? This is the inner sanctum, this is the inner circle, this is the social circle. You're accidentally in the inner circle. This is where a lot of hypnosis type things can happen. It's not the ultimate place to go to. We want to do really powerful work. You want to go in here. But you can do a lot of good things in that inner sanctum, so to speak, or the, not inner sanctum, the inner circle, right? And part of the reason you move the transition there is because, let's put it this way, who enjoys being stuck in small talk? It's an unpleasant place. Actually, small talk is limbo. Small talk is limbo. If you're signaling intent to relate, you want to get into their inner circle. That's where you relate. That's where the human being comes out. The persona comes off. The mask comes off, right? But it's uncomfortable because you know you're being kept out of the very place you're trying to get to, right? In small talk, there is risk because you don't know whether the other person's going to take care of you. If you make a mistake, how they'll react to that mistake. In the inner circle, they'll be more benign about mistakes than they are on the small talk, the outer circle. Does it make sense to you guys? Yes. Right? So small talk feels like limbo, and that feels uncomfortable because there's a lot of question marks. You don't know how the person will react because they are hiding their true reactions. So you have no idea how you're coming across. This is the social veneer. And because we know that, that uncertainty is what we respond to with discomfort. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. Right? Is this kind of ringing true for you guys here a little bit? I'll come to you in a second if I may. Just stand up.
Just a comment. I found it difficult to stay in small talk if you ask even a slightly emotional question.
Yes, it depends on the person. Some people are very good. Talk to me sometime and I'll keep you out all day long. I'm very good at that. It depends on the person. Because of the context we set up in here, it's so much easier to stand up, go ahead and stand up. So much easier to move into the place where we feel comfortable, which is the inner circle. That's where the good, meaningful conversations take place. That we want to transition. This is why people hate small talk. But they only hate small talk because they don't understand. What small talk is doing is, let me put it this way. Anyone here ever have to work with a spooked animal? Dog, cat, horse? Anyone like that? No? Anyone here ever have to work with a frightened child? Hands up, right? So what do? Do you go like, just shut up now, let's just get this work? Or do you go, it's okay, they're there, shh, it's okay, it's okay. All right, now tell me what's wrong, what happened? Isn't that kind of how we approach it? What's all that shushing noises? I'll come to you in a second if I may, yeah? What are all those shushing noises about? You are signaling to them care. You are signaling to them that it's okay to get into the inner circle and discuss something important to them. You are calming them down. And small talk is doing that. Small talk takes people who are on edge. They are frightened like that child or like a spooked horse. And you're calming them down to show it's okay. I'll take care of you as soon as we get into the next phase. And if you don't want to go there, that's okay too. Anyone ever hear of a horse whisperer? Do you know what a horse whisperer is? There's two ways to train a horse. You break them or you whisper. The breaking style, basically you sound like what the word is, you break their spirit. Now, it's a fast way of doing things. You tire them out until they give up. But you have basically a zombie animal at that point. The animal will not show any initiative, right? And a broken horse is only useful for a very certain small number of tasks. And honestly, it's not even a very nice thing to do to the horse either, right? What a horse whisperer does instead, which means it builds a relationship so the horse learns to trust people and allow people on its back and to actually enjoy the work so a horse can think with the program. And very often when you have a well-trained horse in that style, they'll make up for the rider's incompetence. The horse knows more than the rider does and it says, you're an idiot, that's okay, I'll take care of you. But that only doesn't come from a broken horse. And the way a horse whisperer works is, he'll walk into the pen with the horse, say, approach, and just when the horse gets a little skittish, he stops, and he waits. He waits until the horse calms down. You know what he does then? He leaves. The reward for the horse calming down is to leave. The next time he comes in, he goes to the position he was in last, and as soon as the horse is calm again, he moves forward until the horse gets a little skittish again. And then he waits again. And that whole process repeats and repeats and repeats until the horse lets him touch him, ride him, put a bridle in, the whole works. Every step is signaling safety. That's what small talk is. You're becoming people whisperers. Small talk proves to them that they will be okay in your conversation. And if you cannot prove that, many people will not go beyond that unless they are so secure inside themselves that they're now inviting you. They're actually horse whispering you, or people whispering you, by letting you in. Do you see how that dynamic works, guys? I'll come to you guys in a second. There's a question you've got to deal with first, and then we'll come on to this side of the room. So go ahead and stand up.
So I think you actually answered my question. All I was going to say is that, like when I deal with children that are frightened, so like the horse whisperer, I wait.
Yep.
I might make an initial introduction.
And
I'll back off.
Here's the thing. Adults are no different. They're just very tall children who have learned to mask the fact.
So are adults, but it's okay.
Exactly. The adults have just learned to mask the fact that we're really still children at heart in many ways by pretending to be someone we're not, which of course works great in conversations, doesn't it? Right? So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Come to this side of the room, so stand up if you had a question or comment. We'll start with Barley and then we'll move to John. Barney, I say
One thing I noticed that was interesting, even if it's somebody you know and you're having a small talk conversation, there's this impulse at a certain point when it starts looping that you're like, I want to get out of this.
Yep.
I want to stop.
Yep.
But if you build that comfort, then you're like, cool, yeah, let's continue.
Yeah. See, when I was young, you can understand in Austrian culture, there's a lot of conversations. There's the whole coffee culture. We sit together and you chat about all kinds of weird stuff. It's a really big deal even now in Austrian society, if you like. So even though I grew up in England, my parents hosted a lot of parties, dinner parties, cocktail parties, that sort of stuff. And I noticed a really weird phenomenon, right? There are some people I talk to and I would be on fire. I would be like I'd be handing down manna from the heavens and look at how wonderful it is. And they go, what a precocious child, wonderful, oh, it's so smart, so clever, ask all these questions. 5 minutes later, I could be talking to someone else in the corner and I want to just dig a hole in the ground and just hide myself in it because the conversation is going so badly. There's tumbleweeds that are just blowing in between us. And this is in England, they don't even have tumbleweeds, right? They are manufactured hypnotically. And for years I thought I was schizophrenic. Why is it that I can be socially gregarious 1 minute and literally seconds after that, everything collapses and shuts down? It wasn't until many years later I suddenly realized I wasn't the problem, I was just a kid, right? I was responding to their presentation. The people who were secure in themselves, who felt comfortable in themselves, I mirrored, if you like, their response, and I opened up, and of course we got into the inner circle and good things happened. There are people who were shy or awkward and withdrawn, where they kept kicking me out into the small talk circle, which I couldn't even do because I was, 10 years old, so I don't even know how to do this stuff, right? And so I felt the awkwardness, and I thought it was me, because of course everyone thinks that their emotions are them. You're not your emotions. Emotions are only signals from the unconscious. That's all they are, right? And if you make the mistake of identifying with your emotions, well then you're in for a world of pain, right? It's the cause of suffering in a very large degree. But if you can then take your emotions as a signaling system from your unconscious to tell you, where am I right now in this interaction? It's a much healthier place to be, because if you're okay with feeling awkward, now you're becoming a people whisperer.